A very good afternoon to all my dear students. I hope the last session was fruitful enough to make you understand about the introduction about economics, the demand, and in today's class also we will cover the topic further about the elasticity of demand and the supply. So hope everybody has revised it a little before coming to the class. Yes or no? Yes or no? Can I get it in the chat box? People have revised it before coming to the class or not? Okay, so I presume that yes, everybody has revised it. And we will just start with the topic that is the theory of demand. Herein, we will start first with the elasticity of demand. Okay. So now whenever we talk about demand, you always remember whenever I taught about demand, I said that understand it from the consumer's point of view, first thing. Second, whenever we talk about demand, demand is basically about the demand schedule. When I say demand schedule, it basically means that we have a table wherein we know at what particular price, what particular quantity will be demanded. Now, when I talk about the demand schedule, there are two bifurcations of the demand schedule. The first one is the individual demand schedule, and the second one is the market demand schedule. So when I talk about a single person like me, that whatever the prices are going to be, how I'm going to demand for it, that is the individual demand schedule. Okay. When I talk about this fact that how the total people together will come, how it is going to get demanded, that will be known as the market demand schedule. Okay, so there are two things to it, individual demand schedule and market demand schedule. Next, we talk about the demand curve. So the graphical presentation of the demand schedule is known as the demand curve. Again, the demand curve gets bifurcated into two parts, the individual demand curve and the market demand. Now, when I talk about the individual demand curve, whenever I say that whatever the particular price is and what the quantity is, how do we compute the total demand for that particular individual? That's the individual demand. After that, when we summate it all together, it will be called as the market demand curve, wherein we are going to decide that what quantities are consumed and demanded by different buyers at the given price and at the given time. Okay. Then we discussed about what is the demand function. So demand functions is basically a correlation between what will be the price or other factors and how it will affect the demand of the consumer. So if I talk about the price, I'll just quickly take you review with that topic. If I talk about the price, whenever the price increases, the demand reduces, and the price reduces, demand increases. That's the basic fundamental, which also gives us the law of demand. The second point is the price of related goods. Herein we bifurcate the price of related goods into two parts, the substitute goods and the complementary goods. When I say that the good can be used in place of each other, like for example, tea and coffee, anything of that sort, that will be called as the substitute goods. When I talk about complementary goods, what are complementary goods? Which can be used only together to fulfill a particular want. That is what is known as the complementary goods. So for example, if I talk about tea and sugar, let's say pen and ink, car and petroleum, this would all go under the complementary goods. Okay. After that, we have the income of the consumer. Now again, income of the consumer gets bifurcated into two parts, the normal goods and the inferior goods. Normal goods are those goods which are generally acceptable by people. That means the moment your income increases, you will consume more of normal goods. Whenever your income decreases, you will increase more of your inferior goods. Okay. Next is law of demand. When we talk about law of demand is keeping every other factors as constant. The more the price is, the less the demand for a particular product is. So if I talk about the law of demand is in a general term being static, that whenever the price of a product increases, we keep on decreasing the demand for a product. And this is the only reason why our demand curve is negatively sloping or downward sloping. This is the reason why, because one variable, that is the price, is increasing, the other variable, that is the quantity, that is reducing. Okay. We also discussed about the few factors. Why does the demand curve slopes downwards? So, or why the law of demand operates? So there we discussed that how the law of diminishing marginal utility takes place. That when we use more of a particular commodity, what happens is this, that we get bored of that particular product. So if you're getting bored of that particular product, you will say that, okay, I don't want to use it anymore. So if I want you to lure that, okay, please use more of product, I have to give you some benefit. And what is that benefit? I will say that, okay, I'm reducing your price. So please increase your quantity. Okay. Second is the income effect. When I say the price increases, please understand your purchasing power decreases. Assumably, for example, my income was 100 yesterday also, and the t-shirt was worth rupees 5. So I used to buy 20 t-shirts. But today also my income is 100, but the t-shirt has become worth rupees 20. So now I can buy only 5 t-shirts. Income effect says when the particular product becomes expensive, your real purchasing power reduces. And because your real purchasing power reduces, automatically your demand decreases. Okay. Third is substitution effect. When a particular product or a commodity will increase in the prices, why would I buy that? I will change. I will substitute it to something else. Correct. Next is the new customers. Obviously, when the product price falls, people have a tendency of buying more of that commodity. And also, let's say there were some consumers who were thinking that I will buy it, but were unable to buy it. The moment prices go down, automatically the new consumers also increase. Okay. Next is the different uses. Whenever a particular product is becoming cheaper, what happens is this, that many a times when the particular product becomes cheaper, you use it even for less important products or less important uses. That is another exception. That is another reason. Next, we come to the exceptions to the law of demand. Exceptions to the law of demand. I remember in the last class, there was a couple of students who had this point that what are exceptions to law of demand? So exceptions to the law of demand says basically that these are particular goods which we cannot buy, maybe because of high income value, etc. So therein your law of demand does not work. The law of demand used to say that when the price increases, demand falls. When the price reduces, demand increases. But when it comes to high value diamonds, vintage cars, MFOCN painting, etc., they can be bought only and only when there is a high price of it. People will buy it for a conspicuous consumption. People will buy it for a show of value. Second is the giffen good. Even in the giffen good, that's a highly inferior good. What happens is this, that the income is such that when the particular price of commodity falls, the demand also, gets affected. Expectation of further change in price. The best example is that of gold. I buy gold even at a higher price today. Why? Because I know that tomorrow or day after tomorrow, the gold prices are going to soar more higher. I have to buy it for my daughter's wedding, maybe, for example. I'll have to buy it today also at a very expensive price. Why? Because I know in future it is going to go little more crazier. Correct? Last is the necessity. If I'm on a life-saving drugs, can I say that no, the drugs are becoming expensive, the medicines are becoming expensive, I will not buy it anymore? No, I'll die. I'll have to buy those necessity goods despite of the fact whatever the prices are. I hope the law of demand, the exceptions to the demand, all of that is clear. Now let's quickly revise the two kinds of demand curve movement. That was first was the movement along the same demand curve. The second was shift in the demand curve. See, in the last class, we have done this in a very elaborate manner. I have just taken 15 minutes to give a small gist of it all together to you. Okay, so another 3 more minutes and we will wind it up, movement and the shift. And then I will start with a new topic, that is the elasticity, which is technical and very important also. Okay. So now when I talk about movement along the demand curve and the shift in demand curve, first thing that I will clear is this, that the movement along the same demand curve is also known as the extension of the demand curve or contraction of the demand curve, or increase in quantity demanded and decrease in quantity demanded. Please mind my words that I'm speaking. Extension, contraction, movement, downward movement, upward movement, or else increase in quantity demanded, decrease in quantity demanded. Okay. So first thing is extension of demand. And when we talk about extension of demand, keep all the other factors constant. Only and only take price into consideration. The moment price reduces, quantity increases. The moment price increases, quantity reduces. This is the situation wherein we find out the expansion and the contraction of demand. Okay. Now, expansion and contraction of demand, when we are talking about this fact, only and only one thing has to be kept in mind. And what is that thing in my mind? That only and only the price is creating the factor. But the moment wherein we have other factors also playing the role, like for example, change in fashion. For example, a particular celebrity came in a particular brand t-shirt, automatically people are going to go, demanding for that product. Despite of the prices going high, that will be known as the shift in demand curve. So I'll give you one example. What happens is this, price of a t-shirt was 100 and then it increased to 120. That means the price increased. If the price increased, ideally my demand should reduce. No, correct. But what happened was this, that maybe a particular celebrity came in and the particular celebrity wore that particular t-shirt brand. Now, despite of the increase in price, still there was no reduction in the demand. Such a kind of a situation is called as increase in demand, which would, if you see this diagram, look at this diagram on the screen, you will see that with the increase in price, ideally the demand should have reduced, but no, the demand is also increasing. This is why if you see this diagram, you can see that I shifted from the demand curve DD to D dash, which is a rightward shift to the demand curve. Is it clear to everybody? Yes or no? Is it clear to everybody? Okay, perfect. Perfect. Next, we go towards the decrease in demand. Now, sometimes what happens is this, that something goes out of fashion. So if something goes out of fashion, let's say, for example, I'm just giving an example. There are two kinds of denims that people generally wear. Either it is going to be a skinny jeans, or let's say it is going to be a straight fit jeans, or third is going to be a bell-bottom pants, which is a large flare kind of a jeans. Now, let's say in today's scenario, skinny jeans is very much in. Okay. The bell bottoms are no more in. Okay. So if, for example, the skinny jeans, the price is going to go low. The moment price goes low, Tisha should go to the market and buy some more jeans. No, but that's not in the fashion. If something is out of taste and preference, something is out of fashion, people will not buy it. Correct? So in that situation, what happens is this, that the decrease in demand says that if even the price reduces, look at this example too. If the price is reduced from 10 to rupees 8, still the demand remains same. Why? Because the people are not really interested to buy more of your commodity. Maybe because that is not the taste and preference of that particular commodity. I hope this is clear. If you see the diagram, you will watch it that yes, there is a leftward shift of, what is the leftward shift? The leftward shift from the DD demand curve to D dash demand. I hope this is clear to everybody. Now, very, very, very important topic, that is the price elasticity of demand. Since last two classes, I have been repetitively speaking of one fact, that whenever the price increases, the demand reduces, and whenever the price reduces, demand increases. Okay, and this is something which I have been repetitively saying, and it's like price reduce, demand increase, price increase, demand reduce. Question comes, how much? If the price reduces by this much, will the demand increase by this much? How much there should be a change? So you know, elastic Elastic means the ability to change. So the price elasticity of demand basically tells you that what is the percentage change in quantity demand with respect to percentage change in the price. I'll give you a very simple example. The price of salt from 10 rupees became 20 rupees. Can I say there is a 100% increase in price? Correct? Yes or no? The price of salt from 10 rupees became 20 rupees. That means there was a 100% increase in price. Too much? So that means can I reduce the quantity of salt from 2 kg directly to maybe 0 kg or maybe, just 1 kg? No, I will not. There are 2, 3 factors related to it. First of all, if any household we talk about, salt is a basic necessity, correct? In Indian households, especially if I'm talking about, in Indian households, I think not even a 1% of population is there who does not eat salt. Okay. So if I talk about the Indian cuisine, we have a salt as a basic necessity, first point. Second point, of a normal household, in every Indian family, there's a grocery expense of about 10,000 to maybe, I would say, 20,000 per month. And if that is a grocery expense of 10,000 to 20,000, what is the value of 10 rupees salt? Nothing. 10 rupees salt packet is nothing. So there is a very minute value of it. Correct. So even if the price increased from 10 rupees to 20 rupees, which is almost the double, still can you believe there was nothing like that sort? There was nothing of that sort that, I reduced my quantum change. Can I say that the percentage change in quantity is less than the percentage change in price in case of salt? The quantity did not really change with the increase or decrease in price. Such kind of a thing, we can call it as less elastic. Yes or no? Will that be called as yes, less elastic? Yes. Why less elastic? Because despite of the increase or reduction in the price, I and my quantity is not really getting changed easily. Correct? So when I talk about the price elasticity of demand, you have to first understand what is the percentage change in quantity demanded with respect to the percentage change in the price of the commodity. And I denote it by ED, which is equal to percentage change in quantity upon percentage change in price. Is it clear up till here? Now, next is the degrees of price elasticity of demand. When I say about degrees of price elasticity of demand, first thing that we need to understand is the perfectly elastic demand. When I say perfectly elastic demand, let's go one by one through the diagrams and then we will go further. So the perfectly elastic demand is the one wherein the demand curve becomes zero with the slightest and slightest rise in the price of a commodity. Or when the demand is infinite at the given price, it is called as perfectly elastic demand. Now look at this. The price is constant, and at that particular constant price, this is the number of quantity that might change. Now, first thing, understand it. There is no product like that. That means, can I say it's an imaginary situation? First point. Second, the demand curve is going to be parallel to the x-axis, horizontal curve parallel to the x-axis. Here, the elasticity would be equal to infinity. Can I say this is absolutely nothing but a hypothetical situation? Correct? Hypothetical situation. This is one situation whereas we are dealing in a very hypothetical manner. Okay? Next, we talk about the relatively or highly elastic demand. When I talk about a relatively or highly elastic demand, it is the situation wherein the percentage change in quantity is greater than the percentage change in price. If this is the situation, for example, if I say that the percentage change in quantity is 30%, but the price change is only 25%, The quantity changes more with the slightest reaction to the price. I would take it as a highly elastic demand. I'll tell you one logic behind it. I belong to an income group wherein I cannot buy a commodity which is luxurious in nature. And see, please understand, luxury is a very subjective word. For me, for example, an air conditioner could be luxury. For you, it could be a basic necessity. Okay. So first thing that we need to understand is this, that when a particular product is such, wherein the want is not very urgent. The want is not urgent. That means I can postpone that want. Okay, never mind. I got it. Fair enough. I did not receive it. Still working for me. Second is this, that whenever you talk about the highly elastic demand, you have to understand it could be the one which has also the close substitutes are available. So if something is very expensive, I will go for another thing. And this is something which is like maybe a luxury good. In luxury good, the percentage change in price, if it falls a little also, people will go crazy and they will just run away to buy that particular product. So here the percentage change in quantity is absolutely changeable with respect to the percentage change in price. Okay. So if that is the scenario, that is what is known as the relatively or highly elastic demand. Okay. So if you look at this diagram, please understand it. How the highly elastic demand is working. If you see that the percentage change in price is just 10%, wherein the percentage change in quantity is 20%. If that is the scenario, it is called as relatively highly elastic demand. Third is unitary elastic demand. Please understand, in economics or in a normal nomenclature, unitary means one. Unitary means one. Okay. So whenever we talk about the unitary elasticity of demand, the percentage change in quantity demanded and the proportionate change in the price are equal. That is what is known as the unitary elasticity of demand. Unitary elasticity of demand, what happens is this, that the price change fell by 10% and the quantity also went by the 10%. See, neither they are necessity nor they are luxury. These are generally the comfort goods. In comfort goods, what happens is this, that if the 10% price is falling, I will increase my quantum by 10%. So the price falls by 10%, the quantity also increases by 10%. Okay. So when the proportionate change in quantity demanded and the proportionate change in price are equal, it is known as the unitary elastic. Here, the unitary elasticity means ED is equal to 1. When I say ED is equal to 1, what does that mean? That means that the diagram is going to be a rectangular hyperbola. That means the area beneath the graph is always going to be equal. Okay. Which kind of products are going to come here? They are the comfort goods. People do not go absolutely, crazy for buying that particular product. Okay. Next is after the unitary elastic, next is the perfectly inelastic demand. Now, when I talk about perfectly inelastic demand, because there is no change in the quantity demand. Now, when I say no change in quantity demand, it is like this. Whatever the price increase or decrease takes place, the quantity is going to be constant. It is known as the perfectly inelastic demand. Inelastic demand means this demand does not change at all. At all. If the demand does not change at all, that is what is known as perfectly inelastic demand. I'll tell you the best example. There are people who are addicted to the drugs. There are people who are very much habitual for the alcohol, etc. Despite of the health hazards, despite of the prices, etc. Even if the price increases or decreases, it does not really make a difference to them. They will buy those number of cigarettes or they will buy those number of alcohol to fulfill their wants. Another example could be the medicines, the life-saving drugs. The prices increases or reduces, anything of that sort takes place. It does not matter. They will consume that particular commodity irrespective of whatever the price is. Okay. Next, if you see the diagram, I have already explained it to you. Look at this diagram. Here the quantity is same, Q, stagnant, despite of whatever the price is, 2.5, maybe 3, whatever the price is, the demand is going to not change. Okay. Next is less than unitary elastic demand. When I say less than unitary elastic demand, first thing that I need to understand is this, that when the proportionate percentage change in quantity demanded is less than the percentage proportionate change in price, it is known as ED less than 1. I'll give you again very good example, especially like the salt. I just discussed it with you. That if the price of salt increases, will you say that, okay, I will not use salt anymore. I will reduce the salt consumption. You can reduce it, but not very much. You cannot say I will stop using the salt because the price increased by 100%. Oh, how does that matter? You will require that particular product. So even if the prices increases by 20%, let's say, you will reduce the quantity, but only by 10% or 5%. Correct? You will not do this that, okay, if the price is increasing by 20%, I will decrease the quantity by 20%. Not possible. Okay, so if that is the situation, we called it as less than unitary elastic demand. I hope this is clear to everybody. Okay. I hope this is clear to everybody. Perfect. Next is the measurement of the price elasticity of demand. When I say measurement of the price elasticity of demand, there are few things which we need to understand, that whenever we talk about the measurement of price elasticity of demand, the first and the easiest method is the percentage of proportionate method. And what is that percentage or proportionate method? That is basically the most popular meaning of the measuring elasticity of demand. So the first one is this, that the elasticity is measured by the ratio of percentage change in quantity to the percentage change in price. The elasticity of demand is ED is equal to percentage change in quantity upon percentage change in price. So what does that say? That says that, for example, if the percentage change in quantity is increasing by 20% and the price is reducing by 10%, the ED is going to be 2. That is greater than 1. When I say percentage proportionate method is one of the easiest way how to compute the elasticity of demand. So if you look at this diagram, if you look at this formula, please check it. Percentage change in quantity upon percentage change in price. Now, if I derive this formula, it will be delta Q upon original Q into 100 upon delta P upon original P into 100. Can I derive it like this? Delta Q upon original Q divided by delta P upon original P. Can I make it this way? This way, delta Q upon delta P into original P upon original Q. So when I talk about ED, that is nothing but delta Q upon delta P into P by Q. This is how the formula is derived. Always understand, always, in a general concept. See, I always said that we will talk about economics from a journal perspective. From a general perspective, elasticity of demand is always negative. Can I just get it in the answer box? Why is it negative? Come on. Anybody who would say? Why is ED negative? Okay. Okay, very good, Aryan. Good, Rihani. Yukta, very good. Very good, Raj. So this is primarily due to the inverse relationship. And that inverse relationship says what? The inverse relationship says that whatever the price is going to be, the quantity is going to get affected according to that. Okay? Perfect. Now, if this is the formula, we will do a couple of questions how we can, compute the elasticity. Okay. Next is the geometric method or the point elasticity method. In the geometric method or the point elasticity method, very, very, very simple. Here, what you do is this, you compute that it is at a particular point. So let's say if this is my demand curve. This was my demand curve DD. What I will do is this, I will extend it to this. And when I extend it to this, it comes like this. Any point you want to compute the elasticity of demand, you can always use the formula lower segment upon the upper segment. When I say lower segment upon the upper segment, that means if I want to look at this point, maybe I'll mark it A, I'll mark it B, C, D, and E. So the lower segment at point number B is going to be lower segment, that's BE, upon upper segment, that's AB. Can I say elasticity is going to be greater than 1 in this case at this point? If I talk at point C, elasticity is going to be CE upon AC. It is equal to 1. Okay. So whenever we talk about the concept of the geometric method, we always see that what the diagram is, and at that we find out lower segment upon the upper segment. I hope this is clear to everybody. And this is how we have computed the point elasticity method. Okay. Now, if you are using this, you can always refer to this diagram and see how easily it has been made, that how you divide it in the lower segment and how you go for the upper segment. Okay. Next is the total expenditure method or the total outlay method, or the relationship between elasticity of demand and the total expenditure. Now, in that situation, what happens is this, that the total expenditure is what? How do you compute? How much are you spending? Let's say I'm buying 5 t-shirts and each t-shirt is at the rate of 10 rupees each. So can I say the total expenditure is going to be quantity into price? What is the quantity? 5. What is the price? 10. So the total comes out to be 50. Okay. If that is the situation, the total expenditure says that the demand into the price, you compute total expenditure. So whenever we compute the total expenditure, it is basically how it takes place. Now, again, there could be 3 cases involved in it. In that, how do you compute the 3 cases? The first one is elasticity of demand is greater than the unity. That is, the ED is greater than 1 and demand is elastic. So if that is the situation, total expenditure, if both of them are moving in the opposite direction, see, understand, if the price is reducing and total expenditure is increasing, if both of them are moving in the opposite direction, ED is going to be greater than 1. If the price increases or reduces, but the total expenditure remains same, in that case, ED is going to be equal to 1. But if the price is also reducing and the total expenditure is also reducing, that is, both of them are moving in the same direction, then ED is going to be equal to, less than 1. So there are 3 cases wherein we see that whether the relationship between the price and total expenditure is increasing or are in the opposite direction. Are they reducing or is it not really getting changed? If that is the situation, we will call it as the elasticity of demand according to the expenditure method, and how this is how we are going to calculate it. Okay. Let's move further. That is the arc elasticity method. Now, arc elasticity method is basically every time we draw the demand curve, we always draw it straight. But otherwise, if you look at the diagram here, if there are 2 points on the demand curve and we want to compute that, how we find out the elasticity at the average, we have to use the arc elasticity formula. And in the arc elasticity formula, we will use it. Elasticity is equal to Q1 minus Q2. That's the new quantity minus the old quantity, quantity 1 minus the quantity 2 upon P1 plus upon Q1 plus Q2 into P1 plus P2 upon P1 minus P2. If you see this, we are doing nothing but taking out the averages. And when we take out the averages, we find out this particular relationship, how the arc elasticity methodology is going to take place. So I would request you all to take a paper and write the formula for arc elasticity and write the formula of the percentage at one place. Okay? Even this, please. Write down this formula at one place. Then in the joint geometric method, also write a formula at one place, lower segment upon upper segment. Then in total expenditure also, you can make a short summary that if both moving in opposite direction, then greater than 1. If both moving in same direction, less than 1. And if expenditure does not change with the change in prices, then ED is equal to 1. Okay. Next, you write the formula of arc elasticity. And in the arc elasticity method, we find it out about the quantity and the price and the averages, etc. Okay. You can freeze it out. Okay. The next one is I hope clear up till here. The next one, we're going to talk about the factors affecting the elasticity of demand. Now, when I talk about factors affecting the elasticity of demand, first, let's talk about the nature of commodity. Now, I'll just speak the word and I expect you people giving reply to me. Understand it. If a particular thing is very much necessary to me, that means something wherein my life cannot be sustained without it. Okay, that is the necessity good. Even if the price is going high, will you change your demand? If the price increases or something like that sort, will you reduce your demand drastically? Can you change your demand drastically? Come on, yes or no? Can you change your demand? Very good, Aman. Very good, Nandini. Very good, Aryan. No, you cannot change it. Can I say it's an inelastic demand? Okay, I'm using case by case and I'm asking you only what the answers are going to be. Okay, so for necessity of goods, that is salt, kerosene, etc. What will happen is this. The necessity goods are something which is unitary elastic or inelastic demand, because despite of the change in price, the quantity will not get affected. First thing. Second is the luxuries. What is luxury? Air conditioner, costly furniture, something which I can not go crazy with the reduction in the price, So they are greater than unitary elastic demand. What happens is this, a little price reduction takes place. People say that, okay, let's buy it. Now we are able to afford it, correct? Third is the comfort good. Comfort is something which is like, okay with me. I can sustain with it also. And I cannot be like fine with it also. So in that situation, they are neither very elastic nor very inelastic. So generally what happens is this, that if there is a 10% increase in the price, there will be a 10% reduction in the quantity. Okay. Now, second point is availability of substitutes. Please understand. I buy a particular product wherein the substitute is not at all available. If it is not at all available, the demand elasticity is going to be less. Why? Because I don't have an option. Eventually, to survive, I will have to have the product. So even if the price increases, the demand does not really change. So can I say less elastic demand? Yes. In the case of the commodities wherein there is no substitute, there will be less elasticity. But wherein the product has got lot of close substitute, then the elasticity of demand is higher. Herein, we can always have the availability of substitutes, so the demand is going to go high and you can change it. Third is the diverse and the variety of uses. Let's say if there is a particular product with many uses, okay? Like for example, if the price of the electricity is very high now, I will restrain only to the important use, such as just lighting. I will, rationalize and use it very sensibly for the lighting of the lamps and other things, etc. But something which has got less uses, so what will happen? The demand is likely to be less elastic. Okay. Fourth is the postponement of a use. Can you postpone that particular product? Now, see, if I tell you, you cannot postpone the use. If you cannot postpone your use, that means it's like a necessity to you. Now you can go. If it is postponement not allowed, then it is going to be less elastic. Okay. But if the particular product's consumption can be postponed, then what will happen? Then the demand will be very much elastic. Okay. Income level. Understand it. There are primarily three categories of income group: low income group, middle income group, and high income group. See, understand, the high income group will never get bothered by the rise in price. They say that even if the price increases, it does not make a difference to us. We are rich enough to buy even at a high price. Okay. So in that situation, what happens is this: when the consumer has a very high level of income, the person will not get bothered by the rise of price. And thus elasticity is going to be low. But wherein there is a consumer which is a demand, is a middle income group consumer. Middle income group consumers are basically wherein you are very cautious. You say that if the price reduced, then only I'll go and buy the product, otherwise I will not buy. And same, the lower income people are also, not very much elastic. You know why? Because they already know I cannot afford the product. If I cannot afford the product, what is the problem? So they and the high income group fall in the same category. The middle income group people get more elastic. They say that if the price goes low, we will go and buy it. Next is the habit of consumer. Please understand, if you are addicted to something, if you are accustomed to something, if you are habitual for something, whatever the price increase or decreases, your demand will not get changed. Okay, so that is about the habit of consumer. Next is proportion of expenses. Now, I'll give you one example. I am a person who earns, let's say, 50,000 rupees per month. Okay. If I'm earning 50,000 rupees per month, and you must have seen your parents using the sewing needle, needle which she must be using to tuck your buttons, etc. That needle comes out around 5 rupees or 10 rupees. Okay. Assume this, that the price of that needle increased from 10 rupees to 20 rupees. Will your mother or will your father say that no, 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 we cannot afford the needle now because the needle is very expensive? Imagine my salary is 50,000 rupees. Will that 5 rupees be nothing for me almost? It's immaterial. So if the product is very less in proportion of my income spend, I do not bother. That is inelastic demand. But if my income is 50,000 and 30,000 is going towards my clothing or maybe my grocery, etc., then I will think. I will say that my major income is going in that thing. So you better do rationally. So proportion of expense, or proportion of income spent, or how much value of that particular product in your whole budget is going to get changed, the elasticity. Okay. Price level. Elasticity is generally higher at the higher level of price and lower at the lower level. And the last is the time period. See, tell me one thing. Many times we hear this news that, tomorrow it's the petrol pump strike. Why? Because the petrol prices are going high. Okay. Now, I know that petrol prices are going high day and day night in India. Either option is this: I convert myself to a diesel vehicle, or else can I go for an electric vehicle? Okay. But if, let's say, the petrol prices soar very high tonight, do you think I will go tomorrow to the showroom and buy the car? Not possible, no? So if you have a long period, you can easily change your consumption habit. But overnight, I cannot change my consumption very easily. No, overnight, I cannot say that, okay, I will not buy the petrol from tomorrow. I'm just, because petrol prices are rising, I'm going to the Tesla showroom and buying an electronic vehicle for myself. Not possible. So time period is something which tells you whether you can react or you cannot react. If it's a long time period, it can be more elastic. Why? People might change their consumption habit. But if it is a short period, you cannot change the consumption very easily. Despite of the price rise, you still have the same quantity. I hope it is clear up till here, everybody. Next is the income elasticity of demand. You always know the price of a product is also factors affecting the demand, and same way the income is also there to affect the elasticity of demand. So if I talk about the income elasticity of demand, please understand the percentage change in quantity upon the percentage change in price. That will be according to the income. Sorry, here it is not going to be percentage change in price, it is going to be percentage change in income. So income we have already discussed. There were two factors related to income. Come on, I need the bifurcation. When I was saying income increase or income decrease, the products get bifurcated into two categories. Write that those two categories in the chat box, please. Very good, Yukta. Normal goods and inferior goods. Okay, so this is how you're going to change the percentage change in quantity upon percentage change in income with respect to the income elasticity of demand. Next is the cross elasticity of demand. What is cross elasticity of demand? When the commodity change in price with reference to not that particular product, but to the price of another commodity, that is cross elasticity of demand. This is something which relates to the substitute goods primarily. If something becomes expensive, how the other commodity which is related to it, related goods, be it complementary or be it the substitute goods, how they are going to get affected, that is what is known as the cross elasticity of demand. So there was a concept of in price elasticity, there was a concept of income elasticity, there was a concept of the cross elasticity of demand. I hope this is clear up till here. Okay. So if you see, like for example, look at this diagram. If the price of tea is rupees 30 per kg, at this price I was demanding 5 kg for my house. Now the price of coffee rises from 25 to 35. What will happen? Now becomes C. The price of coffee is increasing. I will go back to the tea. I'll say that, okay, tea is cheaper. I will drink tea. If I will drink tea, my quantity of tea increases from 5 kg to 8 kg. So what will happen is this, that the cross elasticity says that how the delta change in the quantity will take place with the delta change in the price of the other commodity. So quantity of X gets affected by the price of Y. So this is how you're going to find out the cross elasticity. Next is the advertisement elasticity. Please understand, in today's market, in today's business system, advertisement creates a major change. So the responsiveness of goods demand to change in the firm due to the advertisement is what is known as the advertisement elasticity. So I'll tell you one best example, how the advertisement campaign brings about the new sales, how the value is going to increase your demand. That is, for example, let's say I changed the percentage spending in advertisement only by 10%, but the demand changed by 20%. That is what is known as the advertisement elasticity. The last topic for today is this demand topic is going to be the demand forecasting. Please understand this simple word forecasting. What is forecasting? Forecasting means today I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about tomorrow. Maybe on the past situation of my previous behavior. That is what is known as the forecasting. If you remember in the last class also, I discussed that how that particular sweet shop created a major loss during the Diwali season. Why? Because that person did not forecast it properly. So demand forecast is something which is an art and which is a science of prediction, how it can take place, how the future thing can take place, how the facts are going to behave. So this helps in how we plan, how we make decisions, how the mass production takes place, how we are efficiently utilizing it. So whenever we talk about demand forecasting, it is basically an art wherein you decide how this prediction going to take place, how the future behavior is going to take place, how scientifically you're going to plan about tomorrow, how decision making is going to take place. So again, the forecast is based on the two kinds, that is the macro level forecasting, which is with regard to the global scenario or maybe the general business economic level scenario. Second is the industry level forecasting. Industry level forecasting is, for example, for that particular industry, be it cement industry, be it furniture industry, be it education industry, anything. And third is firm level forecasting. When I say firm level forecasting means your own industry. When I say industry level, that means maybe the telecom industry. When I say firm level, that means maybe the Geo I'm picking up or maybe Airtel I'm picking up. How the demand is to be forecasted for your own organization. That is going to be the firm level forecasting. Okay. Now, next is based on the time period. Again, there could be two kinds of forecasting on the basis of time period. That is the short term and long term. If it is between 6 months to 1 year, it is short term. But if it is for more than 2 years or 5 years, longer period, 2 to 5 years, or in fact more than that, that would be the long term forecasting. Please understand, short term forecasting is for a short span. Long term is something which relies for a longer time period. And please understand, it is the most vital one also because they are kind of irreversible directions. For example, very rarely people can say that, okay, I have spent 50 CR on setting up a factory and now I'm in no mood to, set up that factory. Can you say that after a point of time? No, because that is a huge investment made and that is for a longevity of the business. Correct? Next is the demand distinctions. So first thing is the producer's goods and the consumer goods. You understand what are the producer's goods? Producer goods are nothing but the kind of capital goods also, which are used for the further production. Like for example, machines, plants, etc. Second is the consumer goods, like for the clothing. I wear it, I use it for a while, consume directly, and then I throw it away. Okay. Second is the durable goods and the non-durable goods. Something which can be used for long period of time. Generally, if you see in your houses, you keep at least your car for 5 to 10 years. At least that is a durable good. You're not disposing it off after a use. But let's say if I talk about bread, is bread a durable good? No, it's a non-durable good. You eat it, you finish it and throw it away. Correct. I cannot keep it for 50 years. It will perish. Third is derived demand and autonomous demand. The demand, if is utilized for something, a particular product's demand arises by the use of particular other product, that is derived demand. When I say derived, something which is taken out. So for example, the demand of cement will be derived. Why? Because there is a demand of flat. I want a house to stay, I need a flat. So for the usage of flat, I require another product, that is the cement. So there is a derived demand. But what is autonomous demand? Which is independent. It is individual in itself. That is what is known as the autonomous demand. Now, next is the demand for firms product and the industry demand. So, for example, how much total demand for steel is required in our country overall by the whole cement industry, maybe that is known as the industry demand. But what is your ABC Limited wanting as a particular firm? That would go into the firm demand. Next is short run demand, long run demand. You already know it. Short run demand and long run demand is on the basis of the time period. So if something is like this, that if it's for a longer time period, that will be a long demand, long term. And if it is for a short period, it could be changed easily. That is the short term. Okay. Now, next is the methods of demand forecasting. In the methods of demand forecasting, it basically means what is the buyer intention. First thing is this. See, I think I shared it with you in the last class also. Like for example, in many colleges out here in India, what happens is this. Like for example, when I was doing my college, we were called for a survey. In the college news bulletin, there was a poster which was kept for a survey of a particular cosmetic industry. Okay, so let's say I did my studies from a only girls college wherein the cosmetics are very much also utilized. So there was a pamphlet on the notice board saying that I want to launch a new cream or maybe body cream, body lotion, etc. So they want to know the survey of how the buyer is going to buy that particular cream. So such kind of surveys, the sample survey, the end use method, this is how interviews, etc., how you find out how the demand is going to take place. Let's say in the whole Delhi University, there were 20 colleges, and the 20 colleges, all the girls said that we are not going to use this particular cream. Now the company will get a feedback that from the youth of the country, we are getting majority that this particular product will not go. So either if you're launching a cream, maybe for the senior citizen or for the kids, still acceptable. But the youth segment will not use it. So as a prudent producer, should I make that particular product or not? Should I make that particular product or not? That will be important. Okay. So these are basic things about the demand forecasting also, wherein we use the survey, opinion method, etc. Okay. Now I will take it to Nikhil sir, and in the next class, as in I'll take a 10 minutes break, and then we will start with the supply. So over to you, Nikhil sir. About the topic we have done, the demand primarily, and the elasticity and the reason for the law of demand and everything we have just covered.
Yes.
Post this 10 minutes break, we will start with the supply.
Even I just like to brief the student, although we had I and Tisha has already discussed about the importance of economics, how relevant is this subject for a chartered accountant, and what is the examination patterns, how the questions are being asked in the examinations, all things is been discussed. But for the benefit of the student who had joined the class for the first time, this paper, Business Economics, is generally consists of 100 questions, which is of multiple choice paper, where the student have to eliminate the wrong answer and pick up the right answer. So you have to plan your study accordingly, because there is no long type or short type question that is being asked in the examination. Second thing is, at that point of time also we had elaborated that economics is very important, and particularly the students, we request you to kindly read one business newspaper on a daily basis, so that whatever the concept that we had discussed, there you will find it that one way or the other way, the implications or the concept are been basically applicable there. So in fact, you will be realizing that yes, that the subject that I'm studying is also very relevant also, and the further implications of the subject you can study. Second thing is the distinctions between micro and macroeconomics. Although right now we are covering the topic that is under microeconomics, and after fifth chapter onwards, that is income determinations and other aspect, we'll be covering about the macro aspect, because micro is smaller, macro is on an aggregate basis, considering like economy as a whole. So that is very important. Second important thing is, Tisha has today discussed about elasticity. From the exam perspective, it is very important, because generally you have to remember the formula that has been there regarding how the price elasticity is been determined, how the income elasticity been determined, the arc elasticity, the cross elasticity, or sometimes the different determinants are being asked in the examinations. So there is a simple calculation. You just have to divide the component, and you'll be getting the value. But if you don't know the formula, then it will be difficult questions for the student who have not knowing the formula or had not revised the concepts. So that is very important. So since this is the beginning of your course, so prepare small revision notes of yours. First, study the concept in detail and bring something, write in your notebook what are the important aspect that is there in that particular chapter, because at the time of examination that will be quite helpful. At the end of each chapter in the study module, here also we are giving the summary of the chapter, which is very important. We are also publishing the capsules that has been there in our student journal. Kindly also read that. But since we are just starting this course, So you don't have to worry about anything. Just concentrate on what Tissa and I am discussing in the class. Try to revise the thing, and definitely you'll be become more confident in dealing with the questions in the examinations paper. Over to you, Tissa.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikhil sir. Dear students, if I talk about the demand forecasting, it is not there in the topic, but if you see the summary of the chapter in the ICAI module, the last 2 points of summary has got an introduction about simple demand forecasting. I have covered it in the lecture so that at least you should be knowing the fact what is demand forecasting. If you look at the module and the last 2 lines in the summary, it will be there. So this is why just given a brief thing, because like I said, economics is something which is going to be absolutely utilized by you at any front, be it the managerial positions you're going to hold, or even for your examination point of view right now, you should know what the whole concept of demand forecasting. So very briefly, this is why I've touched upon it. Okay. So even in the summary, you have just the last 2 points you could see, you will get it. Okay. So we'll take 10 minutes break, and post 10 minutes, we will start with the supply. I would request you all to take a 5 minutes break for that, and just maybe flip over the supply pages so that soon we meet, we will again brush up the whole concept. Thank you. Ashok sir, over to you first. Thank you. Um, Now we will start with a very simple topic, supply. I'll tell you there are three parts to these. First was demand, second is supply, and in one topic we will integrate both demand and supply together. Because in real market, what happens? When you go to a vegetable market or wherever you go in a normal scenario to buy something, there always a supplier of a unit, there is always a buyer of a unit, and they interact and get the product. Correct? So one part from the consumer's point of view, demand I've already taught you. Now, when I'm talking to you as a supplier, in a mean of supply, please understand and keep yourself in the shoes of a producer. Okay, supply is by the producer, demand is by the consumer. So please understand what is a supply. First thing, whatever the market has got, whatever a firm is ready to offer in the market, okay, firm is there ready to offer for a market, then what happens is this: we divide it per unit of time, per day, how much that quantity is available to be sold in the market. That is what is known as the supply. So first thing, as a supplier, as a seller, am I able to sell? Am I willing to sell at that point of time, at that particular price, is what is known as supply. So you have to understand supply is about selling that particular product for a specified period of time, at a given period, at a given price, and at a given time. Okay. Now again comes the question, what affects the supply? Now please understand, if I'm talking for supply, it is from the producer's point of view. And from the producer's point of view, the first thing that you need to understand is the price of a commodity. Now, as a seller, will you be ready to sell more at a low price or high price? Come on. Low price or high price? Put it in the chat box. Very good. High price. Very good, Aryan. Very good, Yukta. So I am always ready to sell more commodities at the more price. Okay. So the price increases, quantity supplied increases. The price reduces, quantity supplied reduces. First point. Second is the price of related good. Okay. When I talk about, so I'll write it here, price increases, supply increases, price reduces, supply reduces. People, the moment I said this, can I know direct relation or inverse relation? Direct relationship. Okay. And when it is direct relationship, this is how the price of good will take place. Next is price of related goods. When I say related goods, something which is associated it. Okay, so if the price of a good rises, other good rises, they will become relatively more profitable. Have you seen people changing their businesses? Have you seen people changing their concept of selling products? They sell that product which becomes little more profitable, correct? So if you think that something is giving you a loss, you will not produce that maybe next year. You will produce that which is going to give you profit. Third, when I sell a product, normally when you talk about any shopkeeper, there is a price which is selling price minus cost that gives you profit. Am I correct? So can I say, if I talk about the cost means the factors of production, factors of production. So if I talk about the factors of production, the moment the factors of production becomes expensive, cost is going to go high. If cost goes high, profit will reduce. If profit will reduce, supply will also reduce. Can I say cost and supply are oppositely related? Okay. Next is state of technology. You all know that if the technology is advanced, then the cost lowers. And if the cost lowers, profit increases. If profit increases, supply increases. But if the technology is obsolete, bad technology, old technology, outdated technology. So in that case, the cost will go high, profit will go low, supply will also go low. Am I clear up till here? Yes or no? Next is government policy. How does government behave in a country? How does government, impose things on us? It is either in the form of taxation or else in the form of subsidy. So government reacts in two ways: tax and subsidy. Okay. So if tax increases, excise duty increases, sales tax increases, import duty increases. In all these things, when the taxes and all these items increases, what happens is this: the cost increase. If the cost increase, profit reduce. If profit reduce, supply also reduce. But if the government is providing subsidy to the seller, to the shopkeeper, to the businessman, if subsidy increases, your cost reduces, your profit increases, and your supply increases. I hope you are getting it. Now, please, you have always thought of consumer when I was teaching in demand. But today, when we are teaching supply, please think only and only about the seller, only and only about the producer, only and only yourself to be a shopkeeper. Okay. Next is nature of competition. If there is a competitive market, that means there are many sellers. If many sellers are there, industry size is big. So supply will be less or more. Come on, put it in the chat box. More or less? Very good. More. Let's talk about another part. If it is a monopoly firm, you understand? Only single seller. If there's only one seller, size is going to be small. If size is going to be small, so then supply will also fall. I hope the nature of competition and the size of industry clear to you. That government policy, taxation, subsidy clear, technology clear, factors of production clear, price clear. Okay. Expectation. Have you heard of a concept called as black marketing? That's an illegal mode, though. You must have studied what is black marketing. You must have seen it in the movies. What is black marketing? Hoarding, in hoarding, what happens is this: if you see the old times movie, you see that there was a person who used to show an artificial scarcity of a product, and when they show the artificial scarcity of a product, automatically they increase the prices. So if, let's say, they know that in the future prices there is going to be an increase, it will reduce its supply today. Why? Because they expect that eventually the future ways the prices are going to go high, so I will sell it at that point wherein I will get more profit. So if the future expectation of a price is high of a particular product, what they people do is this: they will reduce the supply today, keep on hoarding the product, and will sell it when the product becomes cheaper. Okay. Is it clear up till here? Yes or no? Next is number of sellers. If there are large number of firms, obviously the supply will be high. If there are less number of producers or sellers, there will be less supply. I hope this is clear up till here. Okay. Next, we talk about the law of supply. When I talk about law of supply, keeping all the factors constant, other things remaining constant, that means we also called as ceteris paribus. What happens in ceteris paribus? In ceteris paribus, the moment price increases, the quantity supplied also increases. When the price reduces, quantity supply also reduces. So whenever we talk about law of supply, other things remaining constant, ceteris paribus, the quantity is going to increase if the price is also increasing. The quantity will reduce if the price is also reduced. Is it clear up till here? Now, the moment I put this logic in a form of a table, stating that if the price of a tomato is 1 rupees, the quantity supplied will be 5 kg. If the price increases to 2 kg, 2 rupees, the quantity supplied will be 35 kg. If the price increased to 3 rupees, so the quantity supplied increases to 45. And fourth, if the price becomes 4 rupees, the quantity supplied becomes 55. If the price becomes 5 rupees, the quantity supplied becomes 65. Can I say whenever the prices increases, the quantity supplied also increases? Okay. This tabular manner is what is known as the supply schedule. And the moment I put this supply schedule in a graphical format, it will become a supply curve. And what is supply curve? Look at this. If you see at 1 rupee, 10 kg, at 2 rupee, 20 kg, at 3 rupee, 30 kg. Can I say that the price and supply are directly related? When I say directly related, that means the moment price increases, quantity supplied also increases. When price reduces, quantity supply also reduces. I hope it is crystal clear up till here. Okay? Okay. Now we further go forward using the movement of supply. In the movement of supply curve, we again bifurcate it into two parts. That is the extension and contraction, and second is the increase and decrease. If you remember, movement of demand curve was also like this. Due to price, due to factors other than price. So if it is only and only due to price, if it is only and only absolutely with regard to the price, how do we deal with it? Look at this. If the price was 10 rupees, the quantity supplied was 100 units. If it is 20, it will become 200. Okay. So can I show it on the diagram here? If the price was 0, quantity was 0. If the price was 1, quantity was 1. This shift from A to B, point number A to point number B, is what is known as extension of supply. Am I clear up till here? Okay. This is what is known as the extension of the supply. Next is the contraction of supply. What happens in the contraction of supply? In contraction of supply, whenever the supply of goods decreases, due to the decrease in the price, it is known as the contraction of supply. So price was 10, quantity was 10. Because the price became 8, the quantity also became 8. So such kind of decrease. Are we moving to the new curve? No, we are moving on the same curve. So if it is along the same curve, it is known as the contraction of supply. And this will be a downward movement along same curve. This is what is known as the contraction of supply. Okay. Next is the shift in supply curve. Now in shift in supply curve, we have 2 points to it. The increase in supply, the decrease in supply. So increase in supply is wherein the supply increases due to factors other than the price. So I'll take the example of technology. Okay. Now what happens was this, that look at this diagram. 1 second, please. Okay. Here is the diagram. X, origin, Y. This is the price. This is the quantity. Okay. And this was your original, sorry. This was your original supply curve. Okay. This is, I'll take it as P0. This I'll take it as Q0. Now what happens was this, that technology became so advanced. It was so beautiful. So everything going positive in the economy. At the same price, you are able to produce more quantity. Look at this diagram. I am able to produce Q1 quantity. Can I see my demand supply curve shifts to S dash, S dash? Yes or no? So when the price increases, quantity supplied also increases. So this is what is known as the increase in supply. So in increase in supply, when there is a scenario wherein the quantity increases with the increase in price, it is what is known as the rightward shift to a new supply curve. Okay, this could be due to better technology, more subsidies, less taxes, etc. Okay, but it could be a vice versa situation also. What is that vice versa situation? In the vice versa situation, what generally happens is like this. Look at this. The technology became so obsolete, it became so absurd that even at the same price, you are delivering lesser of quantity. Why? Maybe because the technology has become worst, or even at the higher price, you are giving same quantity. Generally, when the prices go higher, you should have an incentive to go and sell more commodity. But here, the technology was so bad that even at a higher price, you are giving the same quantity. This is what is known as the decrease in supply. Okay, I hope it is clear up till here. Please read it up till here. Ask me if there's any doubt. And then we will go towards the elasticity of supply. I hope it is clear up till here, everybody. Next is elasticity of supply. Just 15 to 20 minutes before, we discussed about elasticity of demand. Same ways, there is a concept of elasticity of supply. And what does that say? That says that when the percentage change in quantity supplied changes due to the percentage change in price, that is what is known as the elasticity of supply. So for example, if I say that the price increases or reduces and the quantity supplied also changes due to that, that is what is known as elasticity of supply. So I'll give you one example. For example, let's say even if the prices increases and can you provide me 1000 kgs of wheat at the very second moment? No, not possible. Why? Because the wheat supply takes natural time period also to grow. Correct? I cannot say that, okay, I empty the farm today and tomorrow only I get a new crop. Not possible. It takes the period of about 6 months, 8 months to reap another harvest. Correct? So same ways here also, if you talk about the elasticity of supply, the first one is the perfectly elastic supply. Perfectly elastic supply is again a very imaginary situation wherein we presume that at the same price, multiple type of quantity could be given. So when the supply becomes zero with a slight rise in the price of commodity, okay, this is what is known as the perfectly elastic supply. So in the perfectly elastic supply, the curve is horizontally parallel to the x-axis. Okay. So here what happens is this, that the perfectly elastic supply is when where there is a slight rise in the price of a commodity when the supply is at a given price, and there this curve is horizontally parallel to the x-axis. Okay. Here the coefficient of elasticity of supply will be equal to infinity, though again, like we were having the demand curve also parallel to the x-axis, it is also an absolutely hypothetical and imaginary situation. But let's talk about something which is practically possible, and that practically possible is going to be the relatively highly elastic supply. What is relatively highly elastic supply? Relatively highly elastic supply is, for example, wherein the percentage change in quantity is 30% with the percentage change in price of only 25%. So for example, if I say that the elasticity of supply is more than the change in price. Look at this. The price change is only 10%, but the quantity supply is 20%. If such kind of an increase is there, that is known as the highly elastic supply. Look at this graph and see how steep it is. Okay. Slanting it is. Third is unitary elastic. What happens in unitary elastic? I just told you beforehand. Unitary in economics means one. When the percentage change in quantity is equal to the percentage change in price, that is known as the unitary elastic. For example, there was a 10% increase in price, and thus the quantity supplied also increased by 10%. That is known as the unitary elastic. Clear? The next one is the perfectly inelastic. In the perfectly inelastic supply, what happens is this. I just gave you example. I just gave you an example of a perfectly inelastic supply that, let's say, for example, I took out the crop of my farm, and when I just have taken all my harvest, and tomorrow itself you tell me, ma'am, grow and get me the reap on the whole farm together. Can I give it to you within a 5 minutes or within a day? No, I cannot. It will take completely 6 months, 8 months to, you know, change the particular harvest again or provide that particular harvest again. So that time period, can I, even if you say that I will give you higher prices, give me the crop, I cannot give you because it will take such some more time. So that is what is known as perfectly inelastic supply. Even if you increase the prices, no matter what the scenario is, we cannot increase the supply. And the last one is less than unitary elastic supply. When I talk about less than unitary elastic supply, when the percentage change in quantity supplied is less than percentage change in price, that is what is known as the less than unitary elastic supply. Look at this. The change in price is around 40%, but the supply increase only by 10%. Okay. This is what is known as less than unitary elastic supply. Okay. Aryan has been asking one question quite often. That is, price of the related good. Please, Aryan, understand it as a supplier. Many a times, if the related goods is selling more expensive and is yielding you good profits, a producer says that let's not produce this X commodity now and let's shift to Y commodity. So that is what the related goods are. Okay. Next, let's come to the determinants of elasticity of supply. I'll talk about a very simple concept here. For example, if there is a production increase, please understand it. Look at this. When there is a substantial increase in the cost, that means the product is becoming very costly. Okay. So if the product is becoming very costly, the producer will have less incentive to increase the quantity. They will say that why should I increase the quantity? Why? Because maybe my profit is not going to go high. So if the profit is less, the consumer says that supply will also go less. Okay. So in this response, the increase in price, therefore the elasticity of supply will be less. If there's a very complex production process, very long time required for production, again, you will have a low elasticity of supply. People will say, why should I get involved? It's so complex. Okay. If there is a longer time period, I have a time, I can give you harvest after 6 months, fair enough. Then there will be a great supply. But if the time period is very small, short time period, then there will be less supply elasticity. Supply is more elastic when there is a large number of producers, high degree of competition. Okay. If greater the spare capacity with the firm, the elasticity of supply will be greater as the firm can be there. So if you have a spare capacity on the factory, your machines can be utilized 24 hours, but you are doing it only 5 hours. You can utilize it. Supply can increase, output can increase. Okay. Cost will not increase much because why? You are not utilizing the machinery properly. If the raw material is easily available, go. Supply can be elastic. If the raw material is very scarce, people really do not get the raw material easily, then it will be problem. If firms have adequate supply stock of raw material, production can also take place very easily. If factors of production are easily mobile, you require it here, do it. If you want it at other place, can shift it. In that case, also the supply will be high. But if the production does not take place properly, if the factors of production are not working properly, then there will be a problem. So determinants of elasticity of supply simply says that whenever the production takes place with respect to the supply, etc., which could be easily changed depending upon what the complexity, etc., is, the elasticity of supply also varies. I hope this is clear. So the demand concept and the supply concept, I'm sure everybody must be through with it now. Now, why not combine the concept of demand and supply together? Okay, so let's understand. I'm giving you an introduction about equilibrium price. Please understand. We have understood a concept of demand. We have understood a concept of supply. The market works with both of them. And when market works with both of them, they interact. And when they interact, they create a concept called as equilibrium. And that equilibrium is known as equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. So if this is the scenario, this is your demand, this is your supply, and they equate at point E, this state of balance is going to give us equilibrium price as OP and equilibrium quantity as OQ. So equilibrium is something which is a state of balance. Equilibrium is something which is a state of balance. Have you seen a seesaw? Yes, the kids play on that. Just like this. It is a state of balance, but the disequilibrium takes place when there is an overweight child here and an underweight child here. So it will fall this way or maybe the other way. So equilibrium is a situation wherein we take it out by the extension of demand and supply. When the intersection between demand and supply take place, that is what is known as the equilibrium price. This is also known as the market equilibrium. Here you find out what you want to buy, what you want to sell. And this is what is known as the market clearing price. Okay? It is the situation wherein the prices are going to be stagnant. Look at this. At the price 3 rupees, the quantity demanded is 19 and the quantity supplied is 19. This is the state of equilibrium. So this is what is known as the equilibrium price, and that is equal to 3, and equilibrium quantity that is equal to 19. And how do you find it out diagrammatically? You find it out diagrammatically wherein your demand curve and the supply curve intersects. So this is known as the equilibrium point, which is the equilibrium point E. This is your demand, this is your supply, this is your equilibrium quantity, and this is your equilibrium price. OP, equilibrium price, OQ, equilibrium quantity, and E is the equilibrium point. Is it clear to everybody? Yes or no? Okay. Look at this diagram, which I've already explained it to you, but created here again. Is it easily visible and understandable to everybody? Perfect. Aryan, I hope your doubt is clear now for the related good. Aryan, is it clear? Perfect. Next, let's talk about market equilibrium and social efficiency. What is market equilibrium and social efficiency? Anybody? Anybody who knows what is market equilibrium and social efficiency? Just maybe a fluke also. Now, please understand, there are two concepts that we are going to talk about: consumer surplus and producer surplus. First, let's understand what is the meaning of word surplus. Surplus is extra. Okay. Ram goes to the market and pays 10 rupees to buy 1 kg of tomato. But the seller gives him 1.5 kg of tomato. Can I say 0.5 kg or 500 grams extra tomato? The consumer is in a surplus, is in a benefit, wherein he is paying only for 1 kg, but getting in return 1.5 kg. Correct? So basically, when a consumer gets more than what he wants or more than what he deserves, is what is known as consumer surplus. Is it clear to everybody? As the name says, when the consumer gets more than what the consumer wants, it is what is known as the consumer surplus. Same ways, producer surplus is when the producer sells over and above the cost. Okay, it is basically when they have more than what they were willing to sell at. This is what is known as the producer surplus. So look at the diagram here. Consumer surplus, what happens is this: I'm ready to pay 10 rupees for 1 kg of tomato, but I get a benefit or a utility of 1.5 kg for that same price. So market equilibrium and social efficiency is the gain that any society derives from the exchange of a product in the whole market. So gain will be derived to both the parties, that is to the seller and to the buyer. That is, when it is given to the buyer, it becomes a consumer surplus. The moment it is derived by the seller, it becomes the producer surplus. So like I
Student,
just, yes, sir.
students, in the examination, this concept is frequently asked. So be clear about what this is saying, because producer surplus and consumer surplus is very important, because generally elasticity, producer surplus, consumer surplus, this sort of concepts is frequently asked in the examination. So be clear about the concept.
So whenever we talk about the equilibrium situation is arrived when both the parties, be it the buyer and be it the seller, are getting something. So if you look at this diagram, for all the quantities below OQ, that means lesser than OQ, we find that there is a difference between the price which a producer are willing to accept for the supply. And in that case, what happens is this: eventually the producer surplus disappears when the price at which the sellers are willing is equal to the price what they receive. As a producer, when will I be happy? I will be happy when I get more than what I ought to. And as a consumer, when will you be happy? You will be happy when you get more utility than what you are shelling out of your pocket. So in the economy, again, a social efficiency is going to get achieved when there is a economic benefit of both the consumer surplus and the producer surplus. So again, please understand, though this consumer surplus we are going to understand at a very great length in the succeeding topic, but yes, please understand, for any economy to arrange, there is always a state of balance. And when I say state of balance, that basically means that yes, the prices should be in such a sense that there will be an equilibrium. There is no tendency of changing the scenario. This is how the whole equilibrium is going to get analyzed. Okay, now what I would do is this: I'll do certain questions, one or two numericals with regard to the elasticity of supply and elasticity of demand, because this is how your whole concept is going to be clear. Okay, so just give me 1 second. What I would request all the students is this: that kindly, all of you, do one thing, that is, take out a paper and write all the formulas of the elasticity, the proportionate percentage change in demand formula. Do it right now, please, and so that I can come back for the questions. Just 1 second. Can all of you write percentage demand formula right now? Elasticity of demand, we'll do it first. All of you. I have asked you to write it in a one corner. So elasticity of demand is percentage change in quantity upon percentage change in price. Okay. Come on, write the full formula. And I'll just do a couple of questions with you so that you understand how the numerical part could be. Okay, let's take a very small and a very simple question. The price of commodity, I'll write it out for you. The price of commodity decreases from rupees 624 and quantity demanded increases from 10 units to 15 units. You have to find out the coefficient of price elasticity. When I say coefficient of price elasticity, or we can also call it as elasticity of demand. So I know the formula. Before that, what I will always do is this. I will draw a table like this. Price, quantity. So initially the price decreases from rupees 6 to 4 and the quantity increases from 10 to 15. Okay? Clear? First you need to make this table. Then you directly put the formula and the formula is delta Q upon delta P into P by Q. What is delta Q? Change in quantity is how much? 15 minus 10 upon delta P 4 minus 6 into original uh, price that is 6 and original quantity that is 10. Correct? Come on, solve and give me the answer. Very good, Devendra. 1.5. Very good, Devendra. Devendra has put negative sign also, which means that it is a elasticity of demand. And what does elasticity of demand negative says? Yukta, it should have been minus 1.5, dear. Okay. Though for convenience, we drop this negative sign, but you should understand what is the logic of negative behind it. Okay. Clear? I'll give you one more question. And I expect you people giving me the answer. A very simple one. A 5% fall in price of good leads to 15% rise in demand. Calculate or determine the elasticity of demand. Come on, very simple. ED is equal to, I have also taught you another formula. Percentage change in quantity upon percentage change in price. So what is your percentage change in quantity? 15%. What is your percentage change in price? 5%. So ED is equal to 3. Clear? Yes or no? Okay, perfect. Very good, Raj, Parul. Very good, Yukta. Perfect. Many more. Nandini, Aman. Very good, Ishika. Okay. Now, one more question for your practice. Okay. The price of good decreases from rupees 100 to rupees 60 per unit. If the elasticity of demand is 1.5, now come on, you are given elasticity, you are given the price change. They must be asking you the quantity now. Okay. So is 1.5 and the original quantity is 30 units. You have to calculate new quantity. Very simple. Come on, very simple. I know that original price is 100. New price is 60. Original quantity is 30. ED is 1.5. You have to find out Q1. Come on, I'm waiting for the answer. And one more thing, people. Please, before you give me answer, please also verify the answer. You know how? The price is reducing. That means my quantity should be increased. So whatever my answer should be of Q1, it should be greater than 30. Why did I tell you? Because here students make a mistake in the sign. The negative sign, positive sign, your students make the mistake. So I want you to find out the answer and give it to me. Devendra has given 47. Devendra, can you please check it again? There's a very small mistake. Very good, Satish, 48. Kashish, 48. Ishika, very good, 48. Devendra, there is a small mistake of 1 unit. I don't know why did it come. Okay. It will be. Okay. Ruhani, very good, 48. Aisha, 48. Very good. Okay. So many of you have got it. One more question of elasticity of demand. The quantity demanded by a consumer at price rupees 9 per unit is 800 units. That means P0 is 9, Q0 is 800. Okay. Then they say the price falls by 25%. Price falls by 25%. And the quantity rises by 160 units. You have to find out ED. Come on, see, now understand. I also have one formula. ED is equal to percentage change in quantity upon percentage change in price. My price is falling by 25% and quantity they are saying it's increasing by 160. So 160 upon 800 into 100. That means my quantity is increasing by 20%. 20 divided by 25, 4 by 5, that is 0.8. Correct? So you can get the answer this way also, very easily. This can be solved by both the methods. You can either first find out Q also, new Q and all that thing, or else you can directly put it. Okay? I hope this is clear to everybody. So I would like you all to revise both demand, supply, do certain numericals already. And I'm sure you must be looking at the recorded lectures wherein we have in depth taught all the concepts. So I would advise you also, there are students who have this problem that some classes we have already skipped. Please do not worry about that. There are already recorded lectures. You can easily look at that. And then post that, you can take the recordings of even these brief discussions we have. Brush up the topics through that. And still, if you have any doubts, please ask us. Over to you, Nikhil sir.
Thank you, Tissa, for making the student understand what are the important concepts in demand, supply, elasticity of supply, elasticity of demand, consumer surplus, producer surplus, because these are the basic things in economics. And our purpose is basically to make the student aware about the subject because this is a very practical subject and it is very important for everybody in life also, because everything has been dependent upon the management of supply and demand. So I hope that whatever recording that you are seeing and whatever the revision sort of thing that we are doing in the class, plus the numerical aspect that is already been solved in the class, and we are seeing that very encouraging response from the students. So this is very nice, and hope you study before attending the class, you study on your own the lectures that has been already loaded on the website. Our study material is also uploaded on our BS Knowledge portal. So revision and study hard, and definitely we are making things easier for you through our this revisionary class, so that all the concepts is clear to you and you become exam ready when you are able to face your exams in September, uh, foundation exams. So thank you, Tessa, for taking the class, and thank
Thank
you,
you so
student,
much.
for
Thank you so much.
patiently listening to the deliberations and understanding the concepts. Thanks all.